inspirational reading this morning comes from what we lovingly call our pink books, but these are channeled messages from the present Jesus through an adult group called the Brotherhood of the Followers of the Present Jesus. And I am in the chapter that says, Love is Law. And this is what it reads. Beloved of my heart, my joy is great to be here with you again. I see your dedication and your unity of purpose, and upon this we build the foundation of the work that is to follow. For the work is great and it is long, and we have now begun. For I do my work in many places and in other groups, and this work shall be brought to unification and fruition. For the time has come upon the earth for a new saving action to mankind, and you shall be part of this action, for you shall compile this teaching, and it shall be part of a new wave of spiritual energy, which shall begin a new era of spiritual progress. And so I salute you, my workers, and I bind you to me, and we go forth. I see that your hearts are pure, and that they are empty and ready to be filled with a living message, which I bring to you. You are soldiers of God, and put on your armor, for you must stand up and walk together. For there are times when one must meet the enemy head-on and aggressively, and this we must do together. For to fight this enemy is the kindest thing one could do for mankind. So that is the book, Jesus Love, was our very first pink book. So now I have the pleasure to introduce our speaker. She is, of course, known to you for a long time. She's been a minister, and when she was still in her profession, she was actually dealing with little kids. And so she knows best the questions that little kids have and the answer that they sometimes don't understand. So, so speaking to us this morning about honoring our masculine principle, please help me welcome Reverend Elizabeth Brabant.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
To honor something is important, and to honor something is to know its worth and its merit, and say so. Well, there are a lot of things that we honor, and of course, we're going to honor this morning the masculine aspect of God. And, I'll say a few words about the feminine just as it kind of connects with it, but mostly we're talking about the masculine aspect of God this morning. This masculine principle is what we find within each one of us. Actually, even if you're a woman, you have the masculine side within you. It's just that the feminine side takes dominance when you happen to be a woman. Well, we're guided by our principles. And this morning, we will consider these masculine principles specifically. Strength, first. Secondly, dependability. And thirdly, protection. We begin by considering masculine strength. we certainly think of men as being stronger and, as far as muscles, they are. There's just no doubt about that in my mind. But there are a lot of ways to be strong. And considering masculine strength, we realize that not only men have strength, but also women. And since our audience is mostly women, except for a couple of people, each one of these aspects that I'm talking about this morning is something that dwell within us as women as well, in a different way, of course, in our own special way. The strength to persevere and keep on keeping on, to fulfill and realize success is important. This perseverance we experience with our words and our feelings. We feel in charge of certain situations. And the center of divinity within us helps us with this as we allow and we ask for it. And we are guided by God and in using our strength, which I think is a wise way to use our strength. But we are always safe in our Father God's arms. Well, secondly, they are dependable. They can be counted on to do what they agree to, what they say they will do. They're reliable and trustworthy. And we can count on them for support and have a great deal of faith in the men in our lives. Because they are dependable, we know that they will do what they say they will do. And even if the task is difficult, they can be counted on to do it just the same. They always complete the task at hand. Well, thirdly, masculine protection. I think a lot of times this is the one where we really think about men the most as far as their physical strength. Of course, there's a lot of ways to be strong, but men have it all over the women as far as physical strength. At least I've experienced that. So the presence of God within us helps us with our physical strength. Not just physically, but certainly mentally and emotionally. Protection is all powerful. And from the Bible, in Joshua 1:9, it says, you'll have to excuse me because I have a cataract on my eye that sometimes causes a little problem here. When I have to read, especially. Okay. The presence of God watches over you. Wherever you go, whatever you do, God will never let you fall. I'm going to read that again because it's very important for men as well as women. God watches over you. Wherever you go, whatever you do, God will never let you fall. And that's true for all of us. And we're always guided by God, men or women. When we call upon God for guidance, we receive that guidance. We're guided by the Christ. Here at the Teaching of the Inner Christ, we speak about the Christ mind and the Christ guidance a lot. So when we want to be protected, we call on the Christ mind and the Christ action in our lives to protect us. And we are divinely protected always as we ask for this protection. God is our protection in our time of need. Bringing this all together, we know that the masculine principles include strength, dependability, protection, and I can't stop without leaving out love. We don't always think of that as a masculine principle, but of course, men love as well as women, slightly in a different way, of course. But love is very important. And I always knew my father's love. I remember, this was when he was very ill. I told my dad, I said, "I love you." And he said, "Why, of course." He had really never said those words to me, but he had shown me in 1,000 ways that he loved me. And I was sure that he loved me. And we know that often men have a little greater problem with words than women. Not always, not always. Some men, words are no problem. But a lot of them do have a little more problem with them. Now, there is something that I would like to conclude with that I found in one of our love scriptures, affectionately known as the Pink Books. Because I just think this was a wonderful ending for us. And it says, "Center me home in the center. Father of fathers, I come back home. I fall into you. I am always with you, always, always with you." And it shows a wonderful picture that I believe, even though it's small, you can see it. And here's the father's arms, and there's a man standing there. And of course, if it was a woman, the father's arms would be open as well. So I thought that was a beautiful way to end this, because we are always in our Father God's care, no matter what we do. So we thank you, wonderful God, and we know that we are all blessed by our fathers and our mothers. We know that they care, and we care for them as well. Thank you, wonderful God, and so let it be.
Thank you, Reverend Elizabeth. Now we